Welcome today and every day to Kathleen's Place. This is a place where I want you to feel safe and encouraged and loved, and to know that there's no judgment here on this platform, on this channel, and each one of you are loved. Well, so I just watched a video from Jen Gold, Beautiful Life Sage. Awesome message that she shared today. So Jen was sharing after she went to her therapist today that she shared that everything that we do and say affects our nervous system. So if we're talking negative all the time about ourselves, whether it's how big we are, whether it's, we could do better at this or that, it affects our nervous system. And I had started realizing that with myself because of my chronic fatigue syndrome. And that is something I was trying to find a way to share with you about, me losing my job. Because it wasn't just one thing that caused my chronic fatigue to go down. It was a variety of things, or to increase, get worse, however you want to put it. So over the past, couple years, I've been learning to love myself. It's taken a while. I'm 52 years old, almost 53. In just over a month, I'll be 53. And it's been a tough thing to learn, to love myself properly, to not be negative to myself, to not hate myself, because that is something I used to do. I used to hate myself because I didn't live up to the standards that I thought I should have. And that's one thing, I appreciate that. I heard that today, Jen, if you're out there listening, is that when we don't love ourselves, when we talk negative about ourselves, and that I've been doing that again lately, our nervous system feels it. And with chronic fatigue syndrome, I know that is affected by my nervous system as well. And so because of the business, I had made a lot of mistakes because I was getting sick. But on top of making the mistakes recently, since I've, taken now 3 months off, maybe July, August, September, October, 4 months off. It was middle of July. So the business is struggling, and it was struggling because I was getting sick as well. Like, these are just, and dealing with a customer who was very sneaky and deceitful. It played a huge role and caused a lot of extra stress on our business and on my health. And that wasn't the only thing. There was a whole lot of other things. But because I made wrong choices and we weren't able to finish certain, studies or whatever that we needed to do, I was putting all of this on myself, that the whole downfall of the business was my own. And I did have, obviously, my part in it because I did make mistakes. But being the administrator of our company, my husband and I own our own company. Being the administrator of this company, I played a huge role in that business. And now I'm not there. Because my doctor said, you can't go in anymore. Just 2 weeks ago, or no, was it last week? Maybe it was last week. He said, because I had tried to go back, right, for 3 half days, and I couldn't make it. What happens to me is I tried to do my work. I get phone calls, I get emails. I'm training somebody and trying to figure out the finances, trying to pay invoices, trying to do payroll and everything. It all kind of crashes together. and my brain becomes tired, and I can't think straight, I can't talk straight, and I just become a mess. And I just want to sleep. My body just shuts down and fatigue takes over. And so that's something that is very hard. And so when I went to my doctor, he said, you can't go back into the office anymore. I said, but like, I don't have anybody else take your place. And he said, it doesn't matter. For your health, you cannot go back into the office anymore. So, and I think the thing is this, right? It doesn't help my negative talk on myself, right? It doesn't help other people talking negatively to myself. But like Jen said, I have to worry about how I think about myself over top of anything else. And not only that, that's what you need to do. If you are self-loathing or blaming yourself for mistakes that have happened in life, if you have been a cause of it, you know what? It happens. But you need to forgive yourself. You need to move forward. Because it takes a big person to forgive themselves for the mistakes that they've made. But in forgiving yourself, you have to accept that those mistakes you did make. So that will help your nervous system to continue to heal and to be healthy. I was going to go into a lot of detail on why I lost my job, but basically it's my health. And there were a lot of factors, including my mom's passing, and December 23rd of 2024, I had a hard time dealing with that. Apparently I haven't dealt with it yet. I didn't think I was going to cry. I'll tell you a little bit of the story, if that's okay. So, my husband and son and I went out to visit her in 2022. It was in September. And we went out to stay for the weekend, and she kind of looked gray, not real healthy. Couldn't really stand too long. We left on, I think it was Sunday, and then 4 days later, my sister found her on the floor, to make the story short, on the floor in her bedroom. She had been getting dressed, and the ambulance came in between that time, which she would have had one cardiac arrest, and by the time she got to the hospital, which was an hour away, I believe she had 7 cardiac arrests. A couple of them on the trip, and a couple of them in the hospital. Now, I might have the story a little bit off. If I do, I'm sorry. So the doctors called all of the family from, like, I have a brother in Finland. I have 2 brothers in the United States. I have a brother in BC, a sister in Alberta, and my other oldest sister and I, being the youngest, we both live in Saskatchewan, and my oldest sister lives closest to my mom now, or had. So anyhow, so long story short, she survived. She started getting better progressively, and we all took, those of us who could, took turns going to visit her. Obviously my oldest sister, who was living closer to her, had a lot of the weight on her, but my chronic fatigue was just getting worse and worse. And yes, my husband and I were struggling with our marriage. Our business wasn't doing well. It would do well, and then it wouldn't do well. A lot of businesses, there's waves and ups and downs. But, and of course, just the regular struggles of life, right? So, anyhow, my husband and I would go out monthly, sometimes bi-weekly. One time my health was so bad I just couldn't go. It was 2 months that I couldn't go. But she survived, and she got progressively better and looked better than she had in a long time. She was put in this beautiful home that she was taken care of by beautiful nurses, and she felt respected and loved there. And that was a wonderful thing for her. But for me, my chronic fatigues just kept getting worse. And so we got into business with this guy that wanted to make $50,000 off us when we already were not getting what we needed to get paid from this job that he had connected us with. But he did it in a sneaky way. Kind of played my husband and I against each other. So that didn't help. And then he was constantly just a pain. And doing things that were not right. That caused stress on me as well. A lot of stress. My husband this year, August, finally figured out what was going on, because I would mention things, but he just wasn't, he couldn't figure it out, because this guy had talked to my husband about a deal of a certain amount of money, and then called me to talk about another deal. So my husband didn't realize this, so he finally figured it out and told him, no, the deal that you made with me is the only deal that we will accept. The other part is not going to happen. So finally, this guy finally accepted it and realized that he wasn't going to get his own way. So anyhow, that's this year. Back to last year, my mom passed away, as I said, December 29th. So the traveling I didn't have to do anymore, which was one less stress. But not having my mom in my life was another stress. And that was a huge thing for me. Because I couldn't call her anymore. I couldn't call her and see how she's doing. I couldn't call her and tell her my problems or my joys. She was my best friend, and I miss her a lot. And I know that also had a huge play in it. So, but in all of this, yeah, my doctor told me I can't go back to work anymore. I think I had said that already, I'm not sure. So I had to come to terms with, this is my business. I do a little bit, very little bit of work from home, because I can't. My brain cannot handle anything more. But I so enjoyed doing my work. I enjoyed having our family business. And it does hurt to not be able to be a part of that as much anymore. But, like Jen said, we need to talk positive and good things and good thoughts about ourselves. And I have to be able to tell me it's okay. It's not your fault. And if there was some of my fault, to accept it and just say we need to move forward and to move on and to grow and learn from our mistakes and to do better. That is all we can expect of anybody. That's all. If we can't love ourselves enough to realize that we need to change and grow, and that we're not perfect, nobody is perfect, but we can still be positive. We can still love others. We can still love ourselves. And that was such a word that I just needed to hear today. It was so encouraging. And I hope the way I brought it across, and I did tell a little bit of my story about how I lost my job at 52 years old. It's hard, because I might be one of the owners of the business, but we're not a huge business. So if I don't do a lot of work, I'm not going to be able to take a lot of money out of there unless we grew huge and I was able to have, a dividend here or there or whatever, owner's draw. Not that I can't, but I have to make sure that our employees are paid first. And those that are actually there doing work are paid first before I take anything. And like I said, we're struggling right now because I'm not able to be there and work. I have to train this other lady to take my place or to take part of my place. And that is also an extra stress on me. Even answering emails about our website is an extra stress. I can't handle that. There's so many things that I can be negative about, but I need to be positive. I need to be positive for myself, for my son, for my husband, for my other kids. I need to be positive. We each need to be positive. We need to love ourselves, and in that, we can love others. I thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to stay for the 2 shoutouts that I have at the end, and possibly we'll share my silly puppies. Thanks, and take care.